All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you for those that have joined, and thank you for those who will be watching in the future. And hello to everybody who's joining us on Facebook. I do want you to be patient with me because I have a lot of technology coming up here. And I'm going to do my best to give you all the information that I want for you to have today, along with managing everything. So thank you, everybody. And welcome to the 3-day worthy experience. Let me share some details for you about how the week is going to go. We will be meeting on Zoom, and we will also be streamlining, like I said, into the Worthy Facebook group. Monday through Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And also on Thursday and Friday, we will be here to answer any questions for you that you may have after you hear the information. So during this experience, please give yourself permission to be present. Turn off all distractions, put yourself in timeout, and really absorb the information we have for you. Also, we have some suggestions for you. To be on for the 3 days, each day will build on each other. Some of the information we talk about with you, you may have already heard about. Please have a beginner's mind and be open to learning something new. Also, if things come up, let us know so that we can support you. Healing is a journey, and it's not always an easy journey. Sometimes it's messy, and I want you to know that you are not alone. This is a great space and a great place for you to share your light and your dark, and have the support of this group to help you move through whatever you need to move through. There is not one thing you can do to shift your life. It's a process. And the more you do to build a strong foundation, the easier it will be for you to create the life that you truly desire. Let's see. Hold on one second. And if everybody can just mute themselves as you come on, that would be great. Okay. What we are about to share with you has the potential to change your life. If you are living with physical pain, illness, exhaustion, overwhelm, not having the deep connections you desire, or the cash flow that you desire, then you will want to hear what we are presenting for you. Trust that you are in the right place. The information we are going to share with you today will absolutely change your life. It's changed our lives, and it's changing our clients' lives every single day. Not only are they no longer suffering, they are thriving in all areas of their lives. And that's our intention for you. So let's get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jacqueline Kane. I'm a medical intuitive and a pain specialist. My health is great these days, but there was a time in my life when I was living with chronic physical pain in my low back and my hips. I was experiencing depression and feeling stuck and trapped. It was at a time when I was meditating with an Indian master, working out at the gym, seeing a psychotherapist, and I was still not living the life I desired. And I was doing everything I thought that could help, but I was still so disconnected from what I truly wanted. I wasn't happy with where my life ended up, and I started wondering why. This all sent me on a journey of self-discovery to learn why I ended up in that condition. What I discovered was that there were beliefs and programming inside of me that I didn't even know were there. I hired different coaches and teachers and learned new ways to uncover those beliefs that were creating the blocks that were holding me back. I learned how to clear those blocks, which then changed my life for the better. I am now pain-free, and my passion is to help others who have the same struggle I had to live a life with pleasure, passion, and power. Today, I'd like to show you what's possible for you and your life. I'm going to share with you 4 important key aspects to move the stuck energy now. And 2, I will give you the exact tools to help you move some energy now to get moving again. So let's go over the 4 key aspects that need to get addressed when you are feeling stuck. The most important thing, I think, is ancestral energy. First, we have to address the fact that the energy you are carrying can be having a huge impact on your sense of self-worth. When your self-worth is compromised, it impacts these 5 areas of your life. If you are not owning your worth, it's impacting these 5 areas: your physical health, conflicts in your relationships, your cash flow, your spiritual connections, and your ability to be authentically you. So let me explain. I believe a lot of what stops us is the hidden energy of our ancestors, the kind of energy they passed down to us that they were not able to process or clear. And it all starts in our mother's womb. For 9 months, we take on all of her energy. We take on her worries, concerns, joys, and excitements. It's where we also take on the energy of our ancestors that she took on. So not only do we take on beliefs, thoughts, and programming, we take on their health conditions, their pain, and their suffering. There are studies being done now that scientifically prove how Holocaust survivors' children inherit the generational DNA of trauma. In other words, ancestral energy. In my own family, I had to discover that my grandmother's experience during World War II involved raising 3 children alone while my grandfather was away fighting the war. My grandmother lived in occupied Sardinia, Italy, while seeing German soldiers walking around town every day. She never talked about the fear she must have felt during that time. Back then, nobody did. The emotions were suppressed so deep inside, it just became a part of them. When family members don't process their own emotions, the next generation is left dealing with their behavior without understanding what is behind the behavior. It can be a big mystery. And I feel that that's really important, so I want to repeat that. When family members don't process their own emotions, the next generation is left dealing with their behavior without understanding what is behind the behavior. Even years later, my grandmother told us her stories without any emotion, like she was reading a newspaper, as a matter of fact. I loved my grandmother dearly, but it wasn't until I got older that I could imagine the worry and fear she must have carried around with her every single day. As a grandchild, what did that teach me? How could I express my fears and my concerns if nobody around me was doing that? And how was that for my mother? What did she suppress after growing up years and unknowingly passed down to me? None of my family members ever talked about their emotions. None of my family members did any of that. And not till this day, they still don't. Children who grow up like this can begin to feel responsible for the adults when it really should be the other way around. That's a burden as a child that can turn into a block when that child grows up. I know it did for me. It got so ridiculous that it wasn't until 5 years ago that I discovered that my mother was blind in one eye. It took me 49 years before I learned she had this challenge with everyday life. One day I was thinking of how hard I was working to create a successful business. And I realized how much of my energy was going towards carrying around a lot of energy for my mother. This was my programming I didn't even know I was doing. But when I understood that and came into awareness of it, I began to see that you cannot carry what's not yours because it will hold you back. And that's what was happening to me. It's been a journey that has taught me that letting go of my ancestral energy was the key to me living my own life. When I discovered that and got the help to learn how to clear it, my life turned around. And today I get to feel so much happier with myself, and I get to see the results I have after all these years. So as we've been talking, and I want to check Facebook if there's anybody online who's watching, and even with you ladies online, as I've been talking, does that resonate with any of you? We could unmute everybody here.
Well, you know, I can say the first thing. I feel like it becomes such a natural thing for you to do, since you do it as a child, that you don't acknowledge that to yourself till you get to the point where you're unhappy because you're not really living your own life. You're not, when you realize that you want different things than your parents wanted, or were able to even acknowledge to themselves, something has to shift, because you can't do it with their system that you learned from them, because they didn't really have the vocabulary that we have now.
Right.
So how do you respect what you learned from them and still do what you want?
And that's the journey, right? Is letting go of the energy that, well, first is awareness to understand. I had to be aware that I was carrying that energy to change it, because I didn't know that that's what was happening. And when I saw it, when you see it, right? You can't unsee it then.
Right.
No, and then in that moment, you have the ability to change it. What was coming up for you?
I think what's really frightening me right now.
Can you speak? I can't hear you that well. Can you speak closer?
I think what's really frightening me right now is that all these years, all I've dealt with is their poor coping mechanisms of this. I never even thought that there's something even past that. All these years, it's just their coping mechanisms, their addiction behavior, and how they've dealt with it. And that's all, at this point, all my energy has been directed towards that, and not even past the ancestral minutia that comes with it or causes it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think nobody talks about it, right? I think all we hear it on the TV, on the radio. It's like we're being hypnotized to believe, well, of course, when you get old, you know, you're going to have pain, you're going to have this, your body's going to break down. Or, you know, in your family, heart disease just happens. Of course, you're going to end up with something. So it's like, wait a minute, I don't have a choice here. I don't want that. But nobody says, oh, you can do something different.
Right.
Even if you do go to the doctor, they give you a medication, but there's no talk about when you get past it or when you heal from that. It's like, well, you'll have to be on that for a while. Like, no, we don't. What's coming up for you? Anything, Wendy? Does this make sense?
It does make sense. I had issues with my mother, but I feel like when she died, I just kind of, you know, left it with her. I told her that it was all hers now. I was going to just let it go. And I did.
Good.
And so it's been very good for me.
Good.
And not carry that guilt around that she had on me. So
You no longer carry it? You've left it with her?
I left it with her. I went back to visit her grave a few months after she died, and I just left it there. So,
Awesome.
yeah, it's been good. It was really good for me.
That's really, really awesome.
Yeah.
So there may even though you left that, there may be still some more, Wendy, that you can release. So I want to share a way for you to get even understand more of what you may want to clear. So just in this moment, if everybody can just close your eyes and take a deep breath and bring that energy down into your body. And I want you to visualize your family. And just notice what you see, the energy around them. and get clear in what energy they've passed down to you. Like Wendy said, is there guilt that was passed down? Is there a health condition? Was there anxiety, stress, or fear, which can make you feel disempowered? And what is happening in your life that you would like to change as you now see where this energy came from? You can still love them, but your energy is different from theirs. And just take in as much information as you can right now. This is all just awareness, no judgment, just awareness and acknowledging. And then thank them for showing up for you today. And allow them to go back. And just come back to the here and now. And if anybody wants to share what came up, feel free to do that.
Well, I'm going to go first because I can't believe this. Every time I do something with you, something else comes up. I saw
It's not going to stop until we're in the ground.
I saw them there, my family, and I realized for the first time that I saw them, but they didn't see me.
Yeah.
So being seen is big for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of knew it before, but you know, like you're saying, there's little memories that come up every time you go through this process.
Yeah. It's the onion. We're all the onion and we're all layers, right? And you've done a lot of work right now in the last 6 months about...
I'm on a freaking Zoom call. I mean, that's being visible.
6 months ago, she didn't know what Zoom was.
I didn't want to know.
She's going to stop saying, I have an idea. She's not going to want me to say that anymore. Anybody else have any ideas of what came up? Want to share? And so Erin online says it gives her the ability to be aware enough to change things for my daughter. Yeah. I think that's what gives me the, in your head, I think that's what gives me the most joy about doing this work is that I never wanted my children to live in fear the way I did. I mean, when my son moved away to college, he went down, we live in Connecticut, and he picked coastal Carolina near the beach because it just felt right, Mom. And it's a one-way ticket, right? I don't know if you guys have children, but that's a long way. I had so much fear leaving him. It was a big deal. So clearing all of this is so, so important. And the more we clear, that's the ripple effect. Our kids, oh my God, they're free of it on a deeper level. They get to live their lives. And also when you clear it for the ancestral family and the lineage, you're also releasing your ancestors from the bondage because they're still attached to this. They're still struggling. They're still held down and carrying on this. And it will be passed down from generation to generation unless you do the work to clear it. So thank you, Erin, for that. Yeah. So we're just going to keep going. I want to hold everybody to a certain time. So the number 2 key is your thoughts. Your thoughts have a huge impact on your life and what you are able to create. Do you know that the average person has between 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day? That's a lot of thinking and a lot of thoughts running through people. And I'm not sure how many of you, I'm not sure how many of those are positive compared to being negative. After working with hundreds of clients, I hear all about those negative thoughts. And there are lots of fears and worries and concerns in there. So if you know, or have you heard of the law of attraction? It's the law that we are always attracting things to us. We are always manifesting and attracting things into our life. just depends on what is it we're attracting and do we want what we're attracting. So one way to answer that question, to find out what we are attracting, is by looking at our life and taking inventory of what you have in your life. So to figure out that is, how is your health? Are you living with physical pain? Are you exhausted most days? How are your relationships? Do you feel connected by those in your life? Are you content with the amount of friends you have in your life? The deep relationships in your life? How's your cash flow? Do you find more money goes out than comes in? So that will tell you where you are and what you're what thoughts you're manifesting from. And now after looking at those, then you ask yourself, what thoughts do I think about my health and my income and my relationships? And I will try to have all of this on on a piece of paper. That's my goal. I'll hopefully get that to you by tonight. Do you think thoughts like, I don't like how I look, I should lose weight? Or I'm too scared to really look at my money, I never have enough anyway? Do you think thoughts like, no one supports me, no one really cares about me or what I like? Or do you think thoughts like, I love my body, I love money and creating more, and I have the most amazingly supportive family and friends? Remember, there's no judgment. This is awareness of where are you right now and what would you like to bring more of into your life. Okay, so the really good news is that you, each and every one of you, have the potential to shift this actually by what Pat and I will be sharing with you over the next 3 days. So would anybody like to share what was coming up for you when I talk about all of that? Where are you with your thoughts? Everybody good? Creating the life you want? Everything flows in? Yes? Yeah? You got everything you want, Wendy?
Yeah, I think this move to South Carolina has been really good for us. Our relationship is strong. We've got really good relationships with our kids, and cash flow is going really well. Steve got a great raise moving here. So content with my friends, even though they're all far away from me.
Yeah.
Still in touch with them. And the only thing, I mean, my health is good, but I'm overweight. So that's always been my struggle.
Yeah, and with weight, there's a lot of emotional stuff that goes along with weight, and we hold on to it on some level to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But congratulations on all those other areas. That's awesome.
Thanks. I'm really excited. It was a struggle in Missouri for sure. I could have used this then, but just left that behind there. So, yeah, it's been a good fresh start.
Good for you.
Yeah, thanks.
How about you, Kathy?
Oh, pretty much a whirlwind right now because of the COVID-19. My husband is a frontline physician. I'm in El Paso, very socially isolated, certainly away from family and friends. So it's a temporary, hopefully a temporary place to be, but yeah, your mind can make you crazy during times like this when you don't have any human contact.
Yeah.
It's also very difficult because she has these 4 great little grandchildren, and travel is not so easy right now.
Yeah. I always thought, oh, I was just a plane ride away, and now that's a very different thought.
And they're all sweet.
They said, Nana, I haven't seen you in hundreds of weeks.
That's so cute. Yeah, definitely this experience right now is causing us to really be aware of our thoughts and having to use more tools and techniques on a daily basis. There's a lot of fear and panic in the world right now.
Mhm.
It's important for everybody to get to the root cause of why are you carrying that fear and what's coming up and how can you shift it.
Right.
What do you have to say, Jackie, about when people are looking around at what's happening globally and blaming it on that and not looking at themselves? Because I feel like this is an opportunity for people to look at themselves, but it's so easy to blame the disease. It's so easy to blame the virus.
Well, I believe those are the people who don't want to believe that they are powerful, that they can take back control of their life and their situation. Because the truth is, we all have control over, to some extent, of what happens in our lives. When we blame other people, it's believing that I'm a victim and that I can't control the situation. So if we would all be a little bit more selfish and to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do to clear and heal the negativity, heal the parts of me that feel that I'm not good enough. Because globally, there's a lot of I'm not good enough and I'm a victim energy out there. So when we bring it back to ourselves to say, I am powerful and I am good enough, I think it's a global healing that's happening right now. All of us, it's a common thread. And the more each one of us do individually to heal those parts of us, to transmute that energy that we're feeling, then we can shift as a global society and treat each other so much better. Does that make sense?
I think it's, well, you know, my situation, I'm living with an editorial cartoonist and so the news is on constantly. And, you know, the spiraling out of control into the black abyss happens because of the news. And I don't want to be looking at that stuff anymore. So it's hard to maintain a positive viewpoint when you're surrounded by people that are focused on all the negative stuff.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
really
Absolutely. And that's it. And these people usually, I have one of those too, who really believes his thoughts and his thoughts are true and that they can't change it. And which leads us to the next key, which is our beliefs. Right? And I believe that beliefs are a stronger version of a thought.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And these people that you're talking about, I think all of us can probably find somebody in our lives who believe what they believe, right? And they refuse to let it go.
Yes. Right.
So much to the point where they are actually creating more of that. Because by law of attraction, whatever your belief is, you're manifesting from that belief,
Mm-hmm.
right? And when we have a belief and a hold on it, it's like in every cell of my being, I believe this. So when that happens, your mind will actually create more circumstances to prove that belief true, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And so for example, you know, when we write down goals, every year somebody will say, well, I'm supposed to write down goals. I'm supposed to write down this and that. And you do it. But as you're writing it down, you get this internal, like, that's not going to happen. You get that internal, nope, that's not going to happen. But you do it anyway, right? Well, guess what happens? It doesn't come true. Because internally, you weren't aligned with that. And
Yeah.
people say, oh, create a vision board, put that number on there, that size, and put it up. And every day you look at it and it'll come true. Well, guess what? If internally you do not believe that,
That's true.
you believe it's impossible, it's not going to happen. And so that's what I believe is happening in the world, that so many people from whatever circumstances they live through, they created those beliefs and they won't let it go. So if that's happening to you, what can you do? And this is one of your homework assignments, is to write down all the beliefs you have about your health, about your wealth, about relationships, about what you're able to create. Because once you know what your beliefs are, then you can either keep them if they're working for you, or expand even more to allow in more abundance and more amazing things happening for you. And so the last key is, are you in your head or in your body? And so when I ask my clients and people, are you in your head or in your body? At first they're like, what are you talking about? And so let me explain. So in order to feel worthy of deserving to have an amazing body, health, and wealth, we have to be in our bodies feeling the energy and emotions of that. But when we are young and over time, me, and I will say everyone, has experienced situations and events and maybe even traumas where we felt scared and not safe. When we experience those traumas in that moment, we experience what I call leaving our bodies. Our soul leaves our body because it's too scary to feel all of that emotion. And depending on the level of the trauma will determine how long we stay out of our bodies. The more we experience the trauma, the longer we will stay out of our body and create beliefs. Again, being in our body and feeling all of that emotion is way too scary. So those people become very good thinkers, and they will research everything to prove their beliefs true, to prove their thoughts true, and they kind of disconnect from their emotions. And I call them, in reality, they're living in their head, which creates a spinning energy. It creates like a shiny object syndrome, I call, you know, the person who's going to go from one program to the next. It allows people not to be present. And I notice that in people when I'm talking to somebody and I immediately know they're not listening to me. They're just not present. And it kind of makes me crazy. Or I have to repeat over and over again to people. And why am I not being heard? Why? Right? Is it part of me where I'm not standing in my power to make sure I'm heard? Or is it the people I've attracted in my life and they're too busy and they're spinning and they're not listening? Which doesn't make me feel good. So let's do an exercise to notice where you guys are, all right? So let me even just check. Okay, so if everybody can close your eyes again and take a deep breath and bring that oxygen all the way down your body. And I want you to bring that energy down to your feet. And put all of your energy down into your toes. And even ask your body, ask this part of your body, what information it has for you today. And just notice if it feels heavy or light. And as you take another deep breath, I want you to come all the way back up your body. And I want you to go into your head. Just focus on your head. And what it might feel like to spend some time inside of your head. Just notice if it's heavy or light. Notice if you see any colors. And ask this part of your body, your head, what it wants you to know today. And as you take another deep breath, I want you to go back down into your body, down into through your heart and chest, down into your abdomen, down your legs. And how does it feel back there? And then come back to the here and now. And what was that like for you? Could you tell when you were in your head, when you were in your body? Could you tell any of that? Did it feel different?
I could tell in my head everything was all scattered, and that's how I've been feeling all day, just scattered in so many different directions with so much to do. But I felt like my head was saying, you can get this all organized and straightened out. So that felt definitely good. I feel like good going into the afternoon. So I felt lighter going back down.
Yeah, definitely when we're down in our bodies is definitely the place to be, because you can get more things done without that scattered energy on a more even, actually you'll get more done and have more energy as you go through your day. So great awareness, Wendy. Cool.
Thanks.
How about you, Kathy?
My head just felt heavy. It just felt very heavy. It was
Your head felt heavy.
hard to keep it up.
Yeah. Do you find that you're in your head more than your body?
Yes.
Yeah. So your mind and head are tired. Yeah. So the more you can get down, so some things to do are throughout the day, just think about your feet. Just focus on your feet, which will give you the intention to get grounded, and which will help you have more energy, because when we're in our head spinning, it consumes a lot of energy.
Exhausting.
It's exhausting. Absolutely, it is. Yeah. How you doing, Miss Pat?
Pretty good. My experience was things were very active in my head and they were not so active in my body. You know, it just felt like there was a lot going on. But I also heard the phrase, it's going to happen when it happens. I have no idea what that means, but that's what I heard. So it's, for me, integrating both in that, like you're saying, when your head is spinning, it's hard to recognize that because it gets to be so familiar.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how, I mean, I understand because I teach meditation that stress comes in every single day. It doesn't go out, right? Unless we let it go. And so we have to be active about that. And so I always explain to people, it's like holding a balloon with air in it. And the air that keeps going in the balloon is the stress that keeps coming into our lives. So meditating every day kind of lets a little bit of that out so it doesn't get to the point where it explodes. And it can be so subtle, you know, because especially if there's no immediate drama happening in your life, you think, well, I don't have any stress. Well, it's happening globally, you know, and you pick it up from other people.
Well, and we numb it. If people say they're not stressed, sometimes numbing is a sensation too. And
that's true.
We're good at numbing.
And stuffing it down.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And avoiding. So, yeah.
The process, it never stops. You know, it never stops. And you get better at it. I think you get to recognize things faster the more exercises you do, the more you get connected to yourself. You start to recognize things earlier, certainly at my age. You know, I mean, that is the benefit of getting older, is that you can see things that you couldn't see. I couldn't see 20 years ago. You know, I can see it now, very clear.
Yeah.
And I can also say what I want now.
That's right. Watch out.
Yeah, watch out. I earned all these white hairs.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Great point. So that's all I have for you. So your homework is to notice when you're in your head, when you're in your body, and note. So the reason we leave our body is because we don't want to feel. Your body is always taking on sensations from the people around you, from situations around you, and notice when you're jumping into your head and you're running away from feeling something. What is it you're running away from? The closer you can get to that point of the awareness, the faster you can shift your life into creating the life that you do desire. So that's all I have for you. I thank you so much for being here and for being so open. So tomorrow, Miss Pat will share with us clutter and feng shui.
Well, what I wanted to say about that is, I just thought of this analogy. How would I break this down into normal language? And the normal language would be like, when you're feeling like you need to pick your spirit up and you need to get energized, you put on a piece of your favorite music. You can also do that with your space. It can make you feel so much better. Sometimes it's not about buying new things or bringing them in. It's just rearranging what you already have, putting in a different location, or being aware of how it feels, or getting rid of stuff, whatever. There are ways to deal with your space, and I'm extremely sensitive to that and passionate about it, because people don't know how their space is affecting them for the most part. And so I feel like in general, the work that Jackie and I are doing is helping women move from that mentality of things are happening to me to what I want to create, and how do I want to support myself when I do that creation, because it's scary to create, because it's, when you create something, you put it out there, anybody can say anything they want about it, and it can be a very vulnerable feeling. So I think the space part is really fun, and I really enjoy Jackie's work, because I'm here on a Zoom call. It's proof it works.
Awesome. All right, everybody, have an awesome day, and let me know in the comment Facebook group if you guys have any questions or anything.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Nice meeting you, Wendy.
My dogs are barking.